Okay, I think we should probably get started here.
Okay. I'll go ahead and share my screen
Well,
then.
first of all, let me share mine here,
Okay.
just with kind of an opening verse from the Dhammapada. So today we are doing the contemplations on death suttas, and I'll open it with a Dhammapada verse 287 from Maghavagga, the path. As a great flood carries away a sleeping village, so death seizes and carries away the man with a clinging mind, doting on his children and cattle. So there's a lot of meaning to that, but I'm sure you can figure that one out. But let's go ahead now and we'll go to the next sutta as I stop share and let Kirsten take over. This is an interesting one.
Okay, do you see that?
Yep, looks good.
Okay, great. Okay, so this sutta, and let me know, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, this sutta is from the Udana, and the reason we were inspired actually to talk about death is because the website Reading Faithfully, all of this month is covering death. So it's all suttas related to that. So we picked some of those that were shared. And this is from the Udana, which is the inspired utterances of the Buddha. So the sutta will end with an inspired utterance of the Buddha. And let's see. So it's the Visākhāsutta. And I'll make some comments throughout also. Visākhāsutta with Visākhā. So I have heard, at one time, the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in the eastern monastery in the stilt longhouse of Megara's mother. Now at that time the dear and beloved granddaughter of Visākhā, Megara's mother, had just passed away. Then in the middle of the day, Visākhā, with wet clothes and hair, went to the Buddha, bowed and sat down, and the Buddha said to her. Now I'm going to just pause for one moment and just explain who Visākhā was. So Visākhā was a lay supporter of the Buddha, and she was very wealthy. And the reason it's a little confusing, it says Visākhā Megara's mother. She wasn't literally his mother. He was a stepfather, but what this means is that she brought Megara to the Dhamma. So Visākhā was Megara's spiritual mother in a sense. And so it's Visākhā's grandchild who has passed away. So then the Buddha says to her, "So Visākhā, where are you coming from in the middle of the day with wet clothes and hair?" "Sir, my beloved granddaughter has just passed away. That's why I came here in the middle of the day with wet clothes and hair." "Visākhā, would you like as many children and grandchildren as there are people in the whole Savatthi?" "I would, sir." "But Visākhā, how many people pass away each day in Savatthi?" "Every day there are 10 people passing away in Savatthi, or else there are 9, or 8, or 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or at least one person who passes away every day in Savatthi. Savatthi is never without someone passing away." So we're going to back up for just a moment here and look at this saying here. Why are you coming here with wet clothes and hair? And so what this is, we learned is something called funeral bathing. And so this is a ritual of bathing the body after someone has passed away. It's a sign of respect. And I really think in those days, families probably did those kinds of things. Now these are all, at least in our Western society, we kind of we have other people who are doing all this. But I kind of wondered, why would her clothes and hair be wet? And so my understanding, and maybe somebody knows more, is that actually it's going into the river or into some body of water with the child and bathing them. So I looked and looked for photos. It was kind of hard to find, but I I found something that might give us a taste of what that might have been like from from the Ganges. And then also, so this is one photo, and I'm not sure, I'm going to admit, I'm not sure what's going on here, but it could be a ritual, kind of a dip in the water.
Yeah. Now, Kirsten, just let me butt in a little bit, but
Yeah, please
it's
do.
the belief is that if when you die, your body goes into the Ganges, you go to heaven. You go to enlightenment. And so everybody piles in trucks and puts their aunts and mothers and everybody and takes them to the Ganges. And they do a funeral pyre, or they used to, when I was in Bodh in 2002, I saw bodies floating down the Ganges. I saw a baby floating down the Ganges. And people, they really believe that. And again, and of course, I mean, I suppose also just bathing in the Ganges, getting the water on there, and then that kind of moves on to a water bathing ceremony and the rest of it. But that's kind of the basics of this. So go ahead.
Okay, so I also wanted to show another image. So we use AI a lot here to help us with images. So AI created this amazing image. I just gave it some specifications to show us maybe what this might have looked like. And it actually came up with this image, this grieving, perhaps grandmother, wet hair, wet clothes. And I thought that was pretty powerful. Anyway, so there's that.
And
So
you said that the monks were put in the AI, just put the
the
monks
AI
in.
suggested that. And I said, okay, I think that sounds good.
Yeah, that was our
Yeah.
TWIM bot because it knows
Yeah.
what we need.
Yeah. So back to the sutta. Okay. So we ended with that Savatthi is never without someone passing away. What do you think, Visākhā? Would there ever be a time when your clothes and hair were not wet? No, sir. Enough, sir, with so many children and grandchildren. So at first she says, oh yeah, I want the whole world full of grandchildren. I want so many grandchildren. And then she says, oh, okay, I get it. I don't think I want to go through this over and over again. So she has some wisdom there. I think she has some wisdom into impermanence, and the endless cycle and birth that happens to us. So then the Buddha says, those who have 100 loved ones, Visākhā, have 100 sufferings. Those who have 90 loved ones have 90 sufferings. Those who have 80 loved ones have 80 sufferings. Those who have 70 loved ones have 70 sufferings. And on to 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. Those who have 9 loved ones have 9 kinds of sufferings. And 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And even those who have 1 loved have 1 suffering. But those who have no loved ones have no suffering. They are free from sorrow, stains, and anguish, I say. So here, this might sound a little bit cold, like we're talking about saying, oh, don't love anyone. But certainly this is not what the Buddha means by any of this. It's loved ones. We think of this as a positive terms, but it's really talking about attachment to a loved one, clinging to a loved one, a loved person or a loved object. And when we cling to those things, they are inevitably going to lead to suffering. So then, understanding this matter on that occasion, the Buddha expressed this, now it should say at least, inspired utterance. All of the sorrows and lamentations and countless forms of suffering in the world occur because of those that we love. Without loved ones, they would not occur. That's why those who have no loved ones at all in the world are happy and free of grief. So aspiring to the sorrowless and stainless, have no loved ones in the world at all. So it's actually that last line is kind of exhorting us to don't have any loved ones. Now, again, that sounds cold, but it's really saying to not have the attachments. And if you think about loving kindness that we all practice in this TWIM, this is loving kindness without grasping. We don't want anything in return. We just love everyone and everything open-handed. Maybe easier said than done to imagine feeling that way about our children and loved ones. So I'm going to stop sharing here, I think. And I was going to say one other thing, because a thing that I've reflected on a lot is that for me, the reflection on death actually does lead to joy. And that sounds, it can sound strange, but I think some of you probably do know what I mean about that. It's because it's really the truth. Most of the time, we are not in line with the truth. There's kind of a mental denial about death happening. We see it at moments when someone we love die, or when we get really sick, or it occurs to us, oh wow, I could really die. Then it kind of hits home. But until then, we don't think about it. But when we see truth, that leads to joy. It's actually right view, knowing that this is going to happen. And I would say it's a path factor, really. And when we know that death is coming, and David's going to share some suttas that are closer to this, but if you think about that, immediately you will want to keep your mind very pure. We know that we want the mind pure and uplifted, not in a negative, angry, unwholesome state at the time of death. So it's easy to let go of things that maybe day to day, when we forget that death is coming, we'll go ahead and let go of these maybe resentments or clingings or anything that might be bothering our minds or hassling the mind. We just let go of it. And so that leads to joy, and that leads to, I would say, one of the reasons that also leads to joy is that we start to take things impersonally at that point. So I feel like the sutta is really talking also very much about the three characteristics. So it's showing us impermanence, it's showing us suffering. Grief is one of the dukkhas, and not self. And I can't point to it right now, but I do recall, reading through some of the other Nikayas, that there are contemplations that you can do that have to do with death. And again, one of them we'll share today, David will share in a moment, that actually can lead to liberation. So seeing things as they are really does make us happy, I think. So.
All right. Thank you, Kirsten. That's incredible. It's interesting how you researched that. The wet hair, I'd always wondered about that, but I never looked into it. I want to open it up just for a few comments. But first, one of the things that happened with the Buddha in terms of death is that when the Buddha died, Ananda was just grief-stricken. Ananda, of course, was only a Sotapanna, had only just begun his attainments of Nibbana. And at that time, he was surrounded by Sariputta, Moggallana, Mahakassapa, and all of these arhats. And he was bawling, and he was grief-stricken. And Sariputta said, Ananda, what is wrong with you? Has the Buddha not explained to you that death is sure and that life is unsure and that everything is changing and everything is unstable. Have you not learned this yet? And they really admonished him, and I'll bet you if I was Ananda, I'd like, yeah, being admonished by the arhats. But it's worth thinking about. People expect you to get grief-stricken and wrecked by people dying, but people die. It's okay to have equanimity and to have compassion for the suffering of other people dying and other people suffering because of that. But that's their suffering. And we don't have to suffer. We just understand with knowledge. Yes, we do die. All right, everybody can see this. All right, there's two Mindfulness of Death suttas, 6.2, 2 and 1. 6.19 here. Actually, it's, Anguttara Nikaya 6, the Book of Sixes and number 19. So there's 6 of something in here. So I have heard that at one time the Blessed One was staying near Nadika in the brick hall. There he addressed the monks. Monks, yes, Lord. The monks responded to him. The Blessed One said this, mindfulness of death, when developed and pursued, is of great fruit and great benefit. It gains a footing in the deathless, has the deathless as its final end. Therefore, you should develop mindfulness of death. When this was said, a certain monk addressed the Blessed One. I already developed mindfulness of death. Oh, okay, here's the guy. He's way ahead of it. And how do you develop mindfulness of death? I think, oh, that I might live for a day and night, that I might attend to the Blessed One's instructions. I would have accomplished a great deal. This is how I develop mindfulness of death. And this is very common. This is a common practice out there. But the Buddha admonishes this. Now let's see what he says. Then another monk addressed the Blessed One. I too already developed mindfulness of death. And how do you develop mindfulness of death? I think, oh, that I might live for a day and that I might attend the Blessed One's instructions. I would have accomplished a great deal. This is how I develop mindfulness of death. Then another monk addressed the Blessed One. I too develop mindfulness of death, and so on. I think, oh, that I might live for the interval that it takes to eat a meal, that I might attend to the Blessed One's instructions. I would have accomplished a great deal. Then another monk, not to be outdone, addressed the Blessed One. I too develop mindfulness of death. I think, oh, that I might live for the interval that it takes to swallow, having chewed up 4 morsels of food, that I might attend to the Blessed One's instructions. I would have accomplished a great deal. Then another monk addressed the Blessed One. I too develop mindfulness of death. I think, oh, that I might live for the interval that it takes to swallow, having chewed up 1 morsel of food, that I might attend to the Blessed One's instructions. I would have accomplished a great deal. Then another monk addressed the Blessed One. I too develop mindfulness of death. I think, oh, that I might live for the interval that it takes to breathe out after breathing in, or to breathe in after breathing out, that I might attend to the Blessed One's instructions. I would have accomplished a great deal. This is how I develop mindfulness of death. When this was said, the Blessed One addressed the monks. Whoever develops mindfulness of death, thinking, oh, that I might live for a day and night, for a day, for the interval that it takes to eat a meal, for the interval that it takes to swallow, having chewed up 4 morsels of food, that I might attend to the Blessed One's instructions, I would have accomplished a great deal. They are said to dwell heedlessly. Whoa, shocker. They develop mindfulness of death slowly for the sake of ending the affluence. But whoever develops mindfulness of death, thinking, Oh, that I might live for the interval that it takes to swallow, having chewed up one morsel of food, for the interval that it takes to breathe out at the breathing in, to breathe in after breathing out, that I might attend to the Blessed One's instructions. I would have accomplished a great deal. Those are said to dwell heedfully. They develop mindfulness of death acutely for the sake of the ending of the effluence. Therefore, you should train yourselves. We will dwell heedfully. We will develop mindfulness of death acutely for the sake of ending the effluence. That is how you should train yourselves. That is what the Blessed One said. Gratified, the monks delighted in the Blessed One's words. So, developing mindfulness of death each day, this is a practice everybody does. While it might be useful, the actual developing of mindfulness of death moment to moment, each moment you are reminded to be mindful of mind's attention moving from one object to another, because every moment you could die. So it's basically saying, hey, be mindful and do your practice constantly. Don't stop. As the Tibetans like to dig a little hole in the ground every day. They go out and they dig their grave. Okay, that's nice. But what that can lead to is it can lead to fear. It can lead to fear of death, of a depressed mind. Uh, the important part of this is to take the mindfulness of death and have it lead to developing your mindfulness in a positive, beneficial way. And in that way, it leads to nibbana and doesn't lead to depression and worry and all of those other negative things. And we're going to get more of that in the next sutta. So the next sutta, 6.20, the Maraṇassati Sutta, and that's Marana, which is death, and Sati, which is mindfulness. I have heard that at one time the Blessed One was staying near Nadika in the brick hall. There he addressed the monks. Monks, mindfulness of death, when developed and pursued, is of great fruit and great benefit. It gains a footing in the Deathless, has Deathless as its final end. Geez, I want to make sure this is the right. Yeah, okay. That's very similar. Then he addressed the monks. Monks, mindful. Okay. And how is mindfulness of death developed and pursued so that it is great fruit and great benefit, gains a footing in the Deathless, and has the Deathless as its final end? There is the case where a monk, as day departs and night returns, reflects, many are the possible causes of my death. A snake might bite me. A scorpion might sting me. A centipede might bite me. That would be how my death would come about. That would be an obstruction for me. Stumbling, I might fall. My food, digested, might trouble me. My bile might be provoked. My phlegm, piercing wind forces in the body, might be provoked. That would be how my death would come about. That would be an obstruction for me. Then the monk should investigate. Are there any evil, unskillful qualities unabandoned by me that would be an obstruction for me were I to die in the night? If on reflecting he realizes that there are evil, unskillful qualities unabandoned by him that would be an obstruction for him were he to die in the night, then he should put forth extra desire, effort, diligence, endeavor, relentlessness, mindfulness, and alertness for the abandoning of those very same evil, unskillful qualities. So the beginning of this talks about how many ways there are for somebody to die. And just health-wise, how many diseases are there that are out there waiting to take you? I would say that the number of diseases is infinite. They seem to be coming up with new ones every day. just walking out on the street, driving your car, people might come up and hit you, or lightning might come from the sky, or, it just goes on and on. So there's constant dangers that we are facing in our lives. So, just as when a person whose turban or head was on fire would put forth extra desire, effort, diligence, endeavor, relentlessness, mindfulness, and alertness to put out the fire on his turban or head, in the same way, the monk should put forth extra desire, effort, diligence, endeavor, relentlessness, mindfulness, and alertness for the abandoning of those very same evil, unskillful qualities. But be careful, don't try too hard. It's balanced energy, of course, as we Twimmers know. But if on reflecting he realizes that there are no evil, unskillful qualities unabandoned by him that would be an obstruction for him were he to die in the night, then for that very reason he should dwell in joy and rapture, training himself day and night in skillful qualities. So as long as there are no hindrances coming up, his mind is not wandering as he reflects on death possibly coming, then he's good. The reflection on death has been successful, and there's no reason to consider it further. He just considers his practice. And for example, if he was in jhana, there would be no hindrances, and there would be no reason to do this contemplation. Because why? You're developing the skillful qualities. That's the whole purpose of the mindfulness of death, is so that you are motivated to develop skillful qualities. And once you're doing that, you're done. You are on the path, and you just need to develop them. Further, there is the case where a monk, as night departs and day returns, reflects, many are the possible causes of my death. Snake might bite me, a scorpion, a centipede. That would be an obstruction. Stumbling, I might fall. My food digested might trouble me. My bile might be provoked. My phlegm, piercing wind. That would be how my death would come about. That would be an obstruction for me. Then the monk should investigate. Are there any evil, unskillful qualities, unabandoned by me, that would be an obstruction for me, were I to die during the day? And the last one was die during the night. So this is die during the day. If on reflecting he realizes that there are evil, unskillful qualities unabandoned by him, that would be an obstruction for him were he to die during the day, then he should put forth extra desire, effort, diligence, endeavor, relentlessness, mindfulness, and alertness for the abandoning of those very same evil, unskillful qualities. Just as when a person whose turban or head was on fire would put forth extra desire, effort, diligence, endeavor, relentlessness, mindfulness, to put out the fire on his turban, in the same way the monk should put forth extra desire, and so on, for the abandoning of those very same evil, unskillful qualities. But if on reflecting, he realizes that there are no evil, unskillful qualities unabandoned by him, that would be an obstruction for him were he to die during the day. Then for that very reason, he should dwell in joy and rapture, training himself day and night in skillful qualities. So both day and night, one trains themselves. This, monks, is how mindfulness of death is developed and pursued, so that it is of great fruit and great benefit, and it gains a footing in the deathless, and has the deathless as its final end. This is what the Blessed One said, gratified the monks, delighted in the Blessed One's words. So it's the reflection is in a sense, you catch yourself in a hindrance, and your 6 R's becomes it's a little mini reflection. Oh, death could come, so I need to release and to relax. It's a recognizing the hindrance, and then a little bit of a step about, hey, I need to get busy with this and not just let my mind wander and go on out and wander off here. Okay, we got one more. I think we have time here. This is the simile of the mountains. At Savatthi, then King Pasenadi Kosala approached the Blessed One in the middle of the day, and on arrival, having bowed down, sat to one side. As he was sitting there, the Blessed One said to him, "Well now, great king, where are you coming from in the middle of the day?" "Just now, Lord, I was engaged in the sort of royal affairs typical of head-anointed noble warrior kings, intoxicated with the intoxication of sovereignty, obsessed by greed for sensual pleasures, who have attained stable control in their country, and who rule, having conquered a great sphere of territory on earth." Wow, he really understands where he was and what he was obsessed with. Consider during your this is about your daily affairs. As we are intoxicated with our daily affairs, this is where we're coming from. "What do you think, great king? Suppose a man trustworthy and liable were to come to you from the east, and on arrival would say, 'If it please your majesty, you should know that I come from the east. There I saw a great mountain as high as the clouds, coming this way, crushing all living beings in its path. Do whatever you think should be done.' Then a second man were to come to you from the west. Then a third man were to come to you from the north. Then a fourth man were to come to you from the south, and on arrival would say, 'If it please your majesty, you should know that I come from the south. There I saw a great mountain as high as the clouds, coming this way, crushing all living beings in its path. Do whatever you think should be done.' If, great king, such a great peril should arise, such a terrible destruction of human life, the human state being so hard to obtain, what should be done? If, Lord, such a great peril should arise, such a terrible destruction of human life, the human state being so hard to obtain, what else should be done but Dhamma conduct, right conduct, skillful deeds, and meritorious deeds? I inform you, great king, I announce to you, great king, aging and death are rolling in on you. When aging and death are rolling in on you, great king, what should be done? As aging and death are rolling in on me, Lord, what else should be done but Dhamma conduct, right conduct, skillful deeds, meritorious deeds? There are, Lord, elephant battles fought by head-anointed noble warrior kings, intoxicated with the intoxication of sovereignty, obsessed by greed for sensual pleasures, who have attained stable control in their country, and who rule, having conquered a great sphere of territory on earth. But there is no use for those elephant battles, no scope for them when aging and death are rolling in. There are cavalry battles, chariot battles, infantry battles, but there is no use for those infantry battles, no scope for them, when aging and death are rolling in. In this royal court there are counselors who, when the enemies arrive, are capable of dividing them by their wits, but there is no use for those battle of wits, no scope for them, when aging and death are rolling in. In this royal court there is abundant bullion and gold stored in vaults and depositories with such wealth. We are capable of buying off enemies when they come, but there is no use for these battles of wealth, no scope for them, when aging and death are rolling in. As aging and death are rolling in on me, Lord, what else should be done but Dhamma conduct, right conduct, skillful deeds, meritorious deeds? So it is, great king, so it is, great king. As aging and death are rolling in on you, what else should be done but Dhamma conduct, right conduct, skillful deeds, meritorious deeds? This is what the Blessed One said. Having said that, the one well gone, the teacher, further said this: like massive boulders, mountains pressing against the sky, moving in from all sides, crushing the four directions, so aging and death come rolling over living beings. Noble warriors, Brahmins, merchants, workers, outcasts, and scavengers. They spare nothing. They trample everything. Here elephant troops can hold no ground, nor can chariots or infantry, nor can a battle of wits or wealth win out. So a wise person, seeing his own good, steadfast, secures confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. One who practices the Dhamma in thought, word, and deed receives praise here on earth, and after death rejoices in heaven. So there's nothing that will stop death, aging, sorrow, pain, lamentation. There's nothing that will stop this process from coming for us. So we should be aware. We should do retreats at Dhamma Sukha. We should sign up for online retreats. We should support those who support the Dhamma. And with that, I'll end this and open it up for any questions or comments.
I have a quick comment before
Okay.
go on. Just about, yeah, of course, all these things are really helping us with spiritual urgency. But I think one thing that really stands out also when we were talking about this is that you don't know when, where, or how that we're going to die. And I think in the back of our minds, at least for my mind, I think I'm going to die with all my affairs in order and everything is going to be finished. But that may not be when it is. And it could be any time. You could be on a vacation and you're like, oh no, I didn't want to die right now. So I remember I was taking care of a man who was on hospice, and I could very much sense from him and him talking to me that he just was not ready. And the way that he spoke, he felt very much like he had kind of been cheated. You know, he had more things that he wanted to do with his life. And I totally have so much compassion for that because it was such a painful state for him to be in, to think, I wasn't ready. I had more I wanted to do. So there's a sense, I think, to want to make oneself ready now. I think that's what these suttas do, preparing ourselves for death. Even Delson's guided meditation he shared with us recently is, preparing ourselves for death. And another reflection on this is that becoming a monastic is kind of like taking an additional step to sort of die before you die in this process. So just some thoughts.
You're dying to the world. You're dying to the intoxication. And even the kings and the most wealthy people, they're caught up. There is a sutta where the Buddha actually says, with the very wealthy, the very rich, they are in great danger of becoming intoxicated with the wealth, and corrupted by all of the wealth. So even gathering all the wealth, can corrupt you and can create lots of defilements that were not there, that you have to work through. So it's almost as though we are in terror constantly through our lives about death. It's there and it's hiding in the background. And we're always looking to see, is everything okay? Is everything in order? Is my health okay? And on and on and on. But the other thing that you said, I think when I was like 50, I started making lists of things of, here's all my stuff. And I would send it to my brother. And he was like, what's this? Well, just in case I die, here's all the stuff you need to know. I says, okay. Well, I gave up making the list, but what I've tried to do is keep things in relative order, and the things that other people need to know about, they know about it. And to if you were to die right now, what is it that you need to have? What is it that you wanted to accomplish? Have you done enough traveling? Have you done enough meditation? Are you satisfied? Have you had enough experiences, the experiences that you wanted? Get all that stuff done. It's your bucket list. Get that bucket list done. And then at some point, and I had this reflection, like a year ago, I reflected on this and it just came up. And I thought, you know what? I've done enough. It's enough. I mean, you can really never do enough of the meditation, but in terms of the experiences, the traveling, I've done lots of that. I've done many different things. It's enough. I can move on. It's okay. And it's a kind of a freeing and a relaxing kind of insight. It's like, if I die in the car, tomorrow, that's okay. It's okay. I'll have done enough. Oh, before we leave, uh, so Delson did a guided meditation using loving kindness, and then at the end, what he does is he takes you through your death. It's as though you're on your last breath, like you're in the hospice, and you are dying, and you're letting go of everything, of your sense bases, of the mind, of the body, of you are letting your last breath go. And it's really a great meditation, and I suggest everybody do this. And I will share it right now. Let's see. Oh, get out of the way. There, share. And what happened to it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So it's on YouTube, and I'll copy the let's see, where's my chat? Put that in the chat. There it goes.
Okay, so I'd like you all to take your sitting positions. If you want to sit on the cushion, you want to sit in a chair, you'd like to sit in the air and levitate, whatever works for you. Sit in the comfortable position.
So you're welcome to sit levitating in the air if you wish. So, okay, so may suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddhist dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.